Hey, welcome back to Dealer Confidential, where we pull the curtain back on dealership transactions. We got a bunch of people on the show today, three of which you've seen before, and one is a new guy. Greg, introduce our new friend.
It is one of my oldest friends, and Paul Miller and I have been together for, almost 20 years now. Paul is an IT expert. He's also an automotive expert, an automotive enthusiast. He has experiences in running stores, running websites, running IT programs. Paul, give us just a very, very, very brief overview in a second. But today's show is very exciting. It is our Do We Stay or Do I Go? Number 2. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we did the Do I Stay or Do I Go under a different concept. But today is the same thing. And we're going to be talking about IT contracts, because all of us have the dealer, the buying dealer, who comes to us and say, hey, listen, this guy's got some good contracts in place for web, internet, social media, all of those things. What do I do with them? Can I keep? Do I have to get rid of them? Do I have to start all over? So today we bring on Paul. Paul is going to be a continuing guest of ours, and he is going to be discussing IT. And again, do I stay with the contract or do I go with a new contract? So Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hey guys, I've been in IT since the mid 1980s when I was going to college and got a job in the computer store. And no matter where I worked, when they found out I knew computers, they stuck me in that department too, except for one place for 2 years. So I had a small break. On the automotive side, I have worked with dealerships. I continue to work with dealerships in IT and phone systems. I used to help run a direct marketing company, and we would do custom postcards and mailers for a 17 dealership company out here in LA. When their leases were up, we had a program for them. When we had some marketing and SMS text was starting to come out that long ago, we would do that. And I've helped small dealerships and a couple of large ones. And there's a lot of different areas in the, not only finding an MSP, but also the different vendors you use for marketing, for follow-up, for finance, for CRM that get involved. So whether you're selling your dealership, you want to have all that stuff prepared because you want to get the most bang out of your bang for your buck, and you want to have everything ready. Marketing assets, IT assets, all your subscriptions that you're doing. And now if you're buying a dealership or starting one up from scratch, but especially if you're buying, you want to make sure you know what you're getting into, because I've done a couple of acquisition jobs for people and it can be a nightmare. Things weren't listed, contracts were ending. It was a per user charge instead of per computer charge. And it can just, the next thing you know, you're blowing out $50,000 that you didn't expect to spend in your budget.
Hey, Hal, when you're listing a dealer for sale, we'll talk from a buy side in a second. But when you're listing a dealer for sale, how critical is it that they give you the information about everything that Paul just mentioned?
Absolutely critical. Yeah, no, absolutely critical. As Paul said, welcome, Paul. It's good to have you. Important subject. We want to go through the list of all, down to the people who like clean the welcome mats. Okay. Again, that's far from IT, but you want a list of the people who cut the grass, who do the cleaning, who do the DMS for sure, all of the media websites. You want a listing of all those contracts, and you want to early on get with the buyer and the buyer's team and say, here are the contracts. Which ones do you want and which ones do you not want? Because I want to try to cancel the ones, concurrent with closing, because I don't want to pay cost after I've sold the deal. And I want to make sure that I read the fine print, because all of these contracts have fine print. Remember those terms and conditions that you checked off that you didn't read? Well, now it's time to read them. Okay. And follow them. And so it's a critical exercise. No one wants to do it, but it's important that you do it, and you do it early, and you give the buyer time to go through the list of contracts, read through them, and decide which ones, he keeps or he doesn't keep. I will say this, Paul, you please, there's a lot of and Joe will tell you, there's a lot of noise going on in these transactions, a lot of moving parts, right? There's parts, there's FFE, there's used vehicles, there's all this stuff. As a new buyer going into a deal, if you can just retain the DMS system during the transition period, even if you don't like the DMS system necessarily, get through that first 6 months, 12 months with that existing DMS before you decide to flip the switch, because there's just a lot of headache and training and account reconciliations and a lot of stuff that goes on when you try to switch DMS concurrent with closing.
Hey, Joe, you bought and sold a number of dealerships. How has that and this subject affected you? And then after that, Hal, I'm going to jump back, and then Paul will jump in. We're going to talk about the legal aspects, because there are a ton of legal aspects here to discuss.
Without a doubt. I tell you, it's an important subject. Al painted a large picture there, and it's important to know that a lot of guys, one of the mistakes they make, which I'm a little bit of an IT gearhead, so I'm a little different than maybe some of the dealers out there, but I pay attention to that, to the contracts, to the vendors, and the stipulations are involved in the particular contracts, to Paul's comment earlier. And here's what happens with a lot of transactions, and I'm sure we've all seen this. You got a dealer who wants to buy a store, and he's hunky dory. He's got to have it, and he's worried about keeping the staff and all the other things. And the one thing he doesn't, not that he doesn't care, but he gives his position to the IT person. Oh, I got an IT guy. He's going to take care of it. The problem with some IT guys, and Paul will second motion on this, is that a lot of guys are great at what they do, but they're not car guys and they're not business people. So what's happening is they're saying, "Oh, these are great systems," and but he doesn't know if it's a good deal. He doesn't know if DealerTrack's charging this dealer the right amount of money, or Reynolds and Reynolds, or whatever the case may be. So what happens is the guy is interested in making sure that the system is running efficiently, properly, and according to all IT standards. Yes, that's their job. But the real big organizations, part two of that is, okay, you did the homework there. Tell me now what's going on with these contracts. Are they transferable? And if they are we going to keep the same money and the same stipulations? When's the renewal up? Is it renewal in 6 months only, or is it going to go to the term of the contract, which is 2 more years, et cetera? That's the nitty gritty that a lot of guys just completely miss, because the famous line, "I got the IT guy, he's going to take care of it." IT guy reports that everything's beautiful, systems are working great, we're going to keep the DMS, we're going to keep, but meanwhile, you took on all this software and you're paying a fortune. And in today's market, especially listen, it's not what it was 10, 12, 15 years ago, when the big boys kind of like told you the way it is and you take it or leave it. Right now, there's a lot going on, especially with AI and functionalities, that the dealer can really save a lot of money if they're sharp, if they really understand what they're doing and pay attention.
That is a great lead in. Paul, how does the fact introducing AI into this affect these contracts, that there's somebody out in some country running this IT software package for that dealer that's located in Boise, Idaho? I mean, how is AI going to affect it? And maybe is this the time that the buying dealer just says, "Hey, listen, I'm going to go new company, all AI. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Get rid of the old contracts. I don't need to take them over. I don't need to assume them. I'm starting from fresh." Except the DMS. So, Paul, comment on the DMS, especially, as Hal mentioned before. That seems to be the most critical aspect of this whole thing.
Based on the last 3 dealers I worked with that sold, because the guys were retiring, if you don't have to, don't abandon it. Keep it, because if you go in thinking that you can just cut over, some's going to get cut off, some data is going to get lost. You think you know what you're doing. You're going to get a guy like Joe said that knows IT really well, but they don't know DMS. They don't know CRM. They don't know the accounting system. And then you're hosed. And Murphy's Law happens a lot more in IT than anybody ever talks about, because nobody wants to look the fool. I would say, when you guys get the contracts ready and you're going to buy the dealership for somebody or sell it to somebody, you got a punch list like you're building a giant commercial building and everything that goes in it. And that IT section is a header with 5 different subsections in it. And the one guy that knows IT, that's 25% of the job. And they're going to be worried about AI coming in and phishing on their employees, and you lose your security and you lose your data. That guy's got to be more focused on cybersecurity and protecting the dealership than anything. And then you got to have somebody that really knows the CRM, the DMS. Is Solera hosing me, or am I getting a great deal? Who am I going to shop around with? I would say take it, keep it, and then start planning, because you got so much going on from the acquisition. Exactly. With your new guys, the new ethos that you're going to have running that dealership, what your mantra is and what your hooks are, and getting sales going. that you don't want to mess around with this because your days will be 27 hours a day. You're going to lose time and sleep. So keep it going, get all the contracts together, see if you can renegotiate if you want to keep it. They're usually nowadays they're more open to that. AI, I think, is getting more used on the marketing side, and now it's starting to come into the accounting side where they're like, well, hey, why should I pay this software, X amounts of thousands of dollars a year when I can just dump all my data into this AI and have it do the books for me, which is another scary thought because who knows where that data is going to end up,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. The other, as Paul was talking, sometimes you want to step into a contract, you want to assume a contract, but they'll have a change of control clause buried in those terms and conditions, in the 15th page, change of control. Oh, what's that mean? Now you can step into the contract, but it's a different price level than the dealer who's going out because they've got that change of control clause in there, and it's a new negotiation. Yeah, you can keep us. We want you to keep us, but you're going to be paying more than the last guy.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the significance of the IT contracts. Not only the contracts. Let's get a little bit. So let's spend 5 minutes getting into what some of these contracts entail and what areas because I think Hal gave a great lead in. It hits every single department in the dealerships, especially the DMS system. God, to be left without that day one is critical. You have no dealership.
Well, it's your whole knowledge network.
Yeah.
It's your
how
brain.
you manage the business. And oh, by the way, the OEM wants a statement every month, right? So if you don't have the right protocols in place, you don't know where you are in the deals, and you can't report a financial statement. And it's critical the first few months when you take over. Joe will tell you, you got to know where you are. There's a lot of cash floating around these dealerships, and you can go bust pretty quickly without knowing where you are in the bank account.
The other spin to that too is that you have manufacturers now also involved in this aspect. For example, GM is a big investor in Tekion. Tekion is really making a lot of noise because they're very IT forward, very AI, and very easy to use, very easy to train. It's not super expensive in comparison to some of the, to CDK or Reynolds, et cetera. But, when I opened my GM store, I got a lot of pressure. I mean, a lot of pressure for them to say, well, Joe, you really should consider Tekion. I mean, every other day I was getting an email or a call about Tekion. I didn't use Tekion because all my other stores already had another system. But my point is that even the manufacturer now, and GM is one of them, and there's a couple others that are starting to get in bed with Cox, et cetera. So, it's going to get dicey. And so you really, again, like Paul and Hal said, you got to really pay attention. You really got to be on your game.
Joe brings up a good point. It's not just the contracts that are in place with the outgoing dealer. The OEM has a long list of signups, okay, that they're going to bring to you. And some of them are, well, you got to sign this because you're going to be a GM dealer, right? Or a Ford dealer, when in fact, you don't necessarily have to sign those. It's just presented like you do, right? So you got to be careful about, what you sign up for too, going in, because a lot of it, you just sign here, sign here, sign here. Yep. It's like, open checkbook.
Yeah. Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
We understand that the DMS, the dealer management system, is the most critical IT system in the dealership. If you had to pick another one, the second most critical that maybe is a little ignored, which one would it be?
Well, sorry, the mailman's here. The dogs.
That's the other IT expert.
Yeah, they have something to say. Well, your platform, your fundamental platform is your IT system. And like just 2 months ago, Windows stopped supporting Windows 10. So if your systems aren't up to date and running Windows 11 and everything's talking to each other, if your firewalls aren't up to date and secure because they'll be hacked, the main thing is security, I think. If you don't have that, you're just waiting to get hosed. I put something out on a site the other day and I didn't do a secure login. And this morning I got 3 emails from supposedly my nephew asking to borrow $1,500. That's how fast the hackers act. I mean, they are just pinging IP numbers. I do VoIP systems with the IT infrastructure now. VoIPs are on the internet. Those servers get hit and attacked because the hackers like using them to call and pose as a bank that you owe them some money. So I think first of all is you got to build the moat and get protected. And then you can go into the DMS. And then after that, it's your CRM because your sales guys need it and your marketing company needs it. And that CRM, going back after old clients, building up the rep with the new clients, that's your communications to get more sales and to build a reputation with the community that you're in.
Yeah, I would have guessed CRM would have been really at the top of the list after DMS. Yeah. But as Paul said, security, you got to secure everything, but you can't do any business without CRM.
Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes left. Let's do a shameless plug, and then we'll get back into the subject matter and the show. But shameless plug, how? www.dealerconfidentialpodcast.com and or www.dealer/confidential.com. Either one. You gotta see Hal's monthly newsletter. It's phenomenal this week. It came out this week. It's phenomenal. We'd love to send it to you. So please log on to either of those two websites, become a subscriber for us. Go to our YouTube channel, which you'll pick up after the show, and log in, become a subscriber, become a member, get Hal's white paper, and just get us. And just another shameless plug, our next show, which we're going to be doing, is we're going back to our roots because so many dealers are coming to us and saying, hey, why do I need a broker like you guys? I already have my real estate broker. I just sold my house and he got all the money for it and he's great. So I'm going to use him to sell my dealership. We're going to tell you not to use him, and we're going to tell you why not to use him. And we're going to do that in the next show coming up. And you'll see that in the next week or so. So those are the two shameless plugs for today's show and for the upcoming show. Let's go around the corner. Joe, let's start with you. A little bit of a final line as to what, and we got it. We got a fifth member. We got we have conference all over the place. He wants to get into it.
Well, it's the IT watchdog,
Yeah.
So, last couple of comments. Go around the clock, and we're gonna.
I mean, Paul touched upon something that right now we saw what happened with CDK with the when they got hacked and what that did to them and to dealers. It was just disastrous and terrible. That's something I live on the edge constantly, both personally as well as business. And that's why I'm a little bit of an IT gearhead myself, that I need to protect myself and the business and my people and my customers as much as I possibly can. And, that's something that I think dealers just ferociously have to be, and even if they're not an IT or don't understand IT, it's okay. You have to surround yourself with the right people that can help you and can bring the language down to basics where it's understandable and doesn't scare you away. But I think it's crucial that, that discussion takes place, on a weekly basis. And certainly when I buy, sell, that's, primordial in my book.
Yeah.
Legal implications. Going to assume the DMS. I'm going to assume this. I'm going to assume that. Again, I'm the buyer, obviously, and Hal, you're the seller. I'm going to assume all those things. What kind of legal implication do I assume when I do that? I mean, I hear all over the place, states all over the place going after car dealers for misrepresentation and everything else. What are you finding out?
Well, I mean, you've got reps and warranties in the purchase agreement, or you should have. If you're working with us, you do, and they're backups, right? We're talking about IT backups, but you also have purchase contract backups to protect you against those what would have been unknown and is now known after the fact, right? So, you've got lawyers, you've got attorneys that are looking out for you, but you also have reps and warranties to protect you should something come up post-closing that bites you legally.
Yeah. Well, worst case scenario that you've dealt with and best case scenario that you've dealt with.
Me?
We're dealers, car dealers.
Yeah. Worst case was they came in, they just assumed. And I mean, they assumed everything was fine because it looked like a really nice operation. Everything was clean. There was no dust in the IT room, which is a good sign, they think. And they went in there and contracts were up. Nobody knew who was logging in where. Their accounting person was in Florida remoting in, and that person just quit, and they didn't know how to get a hold of them to get access to the books.
Wow.
It was just a big nightmare.
Wasn't
best one was this guy was type A, had a checklist for everything in his life, and that saved him because he went through everything, knew where everything was, what was going on, who was the contact person in charge of it, and how to figure out how to get the better deal. And it took 8 months to transition over, but everything ran smooth in the meantime. They didn't lose any days of sales. They didn't lose any clients, and they knew where everything was at every time. And it's a juggling act because you're going in here trying to do this, this, and this. And then, like what happens in business, things start getting thrown in the monkey works, and you got to go pay attention to the more important thing.
You got it.
It's we're being organized. That's the
key. Great show at the Illinois Confidential Podcast.com. Go there, subscribe, read House Paper. You'll love it. I think that's it for today, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Great show.
Good show.
Thanks, Hal.
Thank you.
Good to have you,
Good
Paul.
stuff.
Thank you.
Joe, as usual. Thank you. See you soon. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Likewise.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.